and here's the thing that most dentists don't realize, and this is true for most industries, there's an abundance of new patients. There's not enough doctors to actually serve them. You can do it. And if you know how to rise to the top, and especially when you're in an industry where people, their skill set that makes them good at doing the thing makes them usually not good at marketing or sales, then that's an industry ripe for the picking.
Hey, welcome back to the show. And today I'm so blessed to have with us Brother Gary Bird. Gary, will you tell us who you are and what problem are you solving?
Yeah, my name's Gary Bird, and I'm the founder of SMC National. We are a growth partner in the dental industry. We help dentists create, convert, and close more new patients so they can grow the way that they want.
Love it. Love it. That's a big problem to solve.
It is. Yeah, no, it is. It's a very complicated problem and one that deserves a lot of attention.
Right? Right? I mean, truthfully, how many dentists out there are awesome business people? Tell us that.
Maybe 5%.
I think you're right. I'm actually going to the dentist as soon as we get off this call. So it's fresh on my mind. It's actually very ironic we have this appointment today, but,
it's interesting what makes dentists amazing at being clinicians and working in a very small space, and they're perfectionists, right? So when you're good, like almost like somebody who builds like a board inside of a computer, you have to be a perfectionist to get that right.
Totally.
That doesn't translate well over to business usually. So there's a lot of people who support dentists. Now, some dentists are amazing at it and run these huge organizations and do an amazing job, but not many. It's a different side of your brain for sure.
Yeah, I've got a little brother that's a dentist, and he's even got it easier than most because he's military dentist. So whole different animal altogether.
I've heard some crazy stories about ripping out teeth and not putting any pain medicine and stuff like that. It's that's a different animal.
It's a whole different animal. But I will say, dentists in general are really awesome people. To your point, they have a lot of really strong attributes that makes them really good at what they do as a clinician. Talk to us about the business side, though. I mean, when you generally engage with the dentist, what are the most common issues that you see? Because I think it will probably translate to a lot of small business owners, to be honest.
It 100% translates to most small business owners. Probably the closest is like pops into my mind are like restaurant owners, stuff like that.
Totally.
So you become super, there's basically 3 stages of the way I look at it, especially in the dental industry, is that you become really good at the thing. And the thing is doing dentistry. For me, it was doing email marketing or running ads, right? And you have to master that. And that takes a long time to master that.
Yeah, 100%.
And right when you become good at that, then you have to become really good at entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship means that you figure out how to take that thing that you're really good at and turn it into a career that actually pays the bills,
generates
right?
money. Yeah.
Yes. And then there's a third phase, and most people forget about this. And I definitely didn't know about this, and I wish I would have as I moved through it. Then there's the next phase, which is the leadership phase, which is totally different. It's a different skill set. So doing the thing, the clinician doing that thing, that is a skill set that takes you a decade to become really good at. You know what I mean? And then entrepreneurship takes years usually to become really good at. And then leadership is a totally different skill set. It has nothing to do with the other two. In fact, you can not be good at the other two and be good at leadership or vice versa. Right. And I always thought that, I'm supposed to be the leader because I'm good at doing this marketing thing. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Nope. And what, I'm seeing that trend an awful lot right now where the founders, as they jump into, once they get past launch phase, they kind of find themselves in the situation where they're like, you know what? I'm really not the best CEO. I should probably plug somebody else in here who can actually lead my team to do what I want them to do. Right.
Yeah. Being a CEO is a very unique skill set, and and there's parts of it that are exciting and parts of it that are boring, probably to people. And so, it's about finding the right people 100%. But and it's also just about being real about what your strengths and weaknesses are and deciding, do I want to spend the next 5 to 10 years becoming amazing at this? Or do I want somebody else to do it and I focus on what I love to do?
Love it. No, so how did that transition work for you? Because I mean, you have a background in email marketing, which is honestly, it's a really, really crafty trade that most people wouldn't even begin to understand all the complexities of email marketing. It's more than just hitting send. There's a lot of science that goes into this. As you jumped out of that world, which I can only guess the reasons why, but jump out of bulk messaging into something more concentrated, more focused, more niche. What made you choose dentistry of all places?
That's a good question. So dentistry, we basically had a bunch of clients that we were working with, and some of them were dentists. And what I realized was the cost to acquire a customer for a dentist was relatively the same as it was for like a chiropractor or something like that. But the difference was dentists make about 2, 3, 4 times more per patient than the chiropractor. So it was a matter of, can these people afford the marketing? That's the first question.
Yes.
First question is really, can I provide results? That's number one. Number two is, can they afford it? And number three is, what is their ROI? And if those things all line up, that's where you want to pick kind of where your niche is, especially if you're scaling a marketing company. So that's how we picked dentistry. And it's interesting because I do a weekly podcast with people in the dental industry, and I ask everybody, how'd you end up in the dental industry? Everybody except for the dentist and the hygienist are here by accident. So it was totally an accident. No one's here on purpose. Everybody kind of like just builds something or does something, and then they work with a dentist. It works. And then the second rule of dentistry is you get there by accident, and then you don't leave. Like, nobody leaves, and people try to leave all the time, but they always come back. So it's this
so
really cool ecosystem of people. It's a small community. I think there's only like 120,000 dentists in the United States or something like that. This is a really small market. I feel like
80,000 of them are in Utah, though. There's something weird going on here in Utah.
Well, yeah, a lot of dentists go to college there, and then they stay there. And it's hyper competitive for dentistry in Utah.
It's the strangest marketplace for dentists. So if you're looking into dentistry, plan on opening an office somewhere other than Utah. That's my marketing advice. No, but seriously though, so you took your skill sets. You were, I'm guessing, what industry were you in before dentistry? What were you doing marketing for? What were your campaigns like?
Everything: restaurants, sports venues, chain car washes, stuff like that.
Gotcha. So you knew the world, you knew the space, and you were like, man. You posed the question earlier that I think everyone needs to listen to. And I'm going to restate it because I think it's so powerful. You asked yourself, who can afford to pay me for what I'm actually doing for them? Because I know that what you're providing is a huge valuable asset. It's a huge service that most people don't begin to understand how to do it the right way. Yeah. You asked the question, who's going to pay me what I'm worth to solve this problem for them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was literally, I was literally looking at, no. It wasn't even just burned. It was just working with people, right? So take a restaurant for an example. If you're going to be a marketer for a restaurant, their average ticket is $100. You know what I mean? Maybe $50, whatever it is. And so you're trying to drive leads at mass into this restaurant, and they're making, maybe their profit on that is $10, you know what I mean?
I was just going to say $10.
It has to be small, right? And so it's like, how much can they, like, how many customers do you actually have to drive them? How many things can go wrong in that process? And then how many people do you have to drive them for them to actually be profitable on your marketing?
100%.
And it's almost impossible. Like, they're not even breaking even after the second time that person comes if you're charging a lot for marketing. So it's like, okay, well, I don't want to do that. And then I started working, I worked with like chiropractors and optometrists.
Sure.
The average tickets for these guys is really small. Like, it's really, really small.
Right.
And so it's relatively the same cost to drive a customer as it is as dental. So it was just, for me, it was just common sense that like these people can afford it.
Yeah.
And they get the ROI. The real magic in being successful in business is making other people successful. So if I can figure out how to make you successful, you will basically pay me or do whatever I want, right?
100%.
And if I said, hey, Todd, I'm going to blow up your business, I'm going to 10x your business, it's guaranteed, and we could prove that it was guaranteed. I could basically get you to jump through any hoop that I asked 100%. You to jump through.
100%.
And most business owners don't start there. Most business owners start out on what I'm going to get rather than focusing on what you're actually providing.
Right. I am so glad you're here. And I just wanted to take a few seconds to tell you about a program that we have assembled with a lot of our podcast guests and a lot of people who are listening to the show who are feeling the same way that they do. There's a recurring theme. You'll hear a lot of these founders talk about I couldn't have done it without my team. I couldn't have done it without a support group of peers. I couldn't have done it without having someone to talk to that understood my feeling of isolation as an operator of my business. You see, you're not alone. It is hard running a business, and it's even harder when you know you can't express all your deepest concerns and frustrations with your executive team. It makes them nervous. It gets them scared. You don't want scared people on your executive team. So where do you turn? The Captain's Council is where you turn. The Captain's Council, it is an organization that we are put together with podcast guests, as well as people who are listening, who are in the same boat. You see, peers are the only ones that can give you the type of empathy, the type of advice that only a founder or operator know and understand. Go check it out at captainscouncil.com. I know you're going to love what you see there. We have put together an organizational structure that has small group settings, a global community of founders and operators, as well as monthly and quarterly in-person events. You're going to love what you see there. I can't wait for you to check it out and enjoy the rest of this episode. Right. Listen, I get it. And I think it's so smart. And that's why you've been successful. And that's why you're still building and growing your business. And I really appreciate what you said. Because of the fact, I think most people learn a skill and they do it in some industry where it's really not that profitable for them. And they really struggle to maintain and build and grow their business. And what you've done and what you've illustrated is that, and I've done the same thing about 3 years ago. During COVID, I had to really restart what I was doing. And I've discovered, hey, I got an easy solution for startups. I started helping startups build their initial branding and packaging of their products. It took a year for me to finally figure out, hey, dummy, guess what? They're going to stop paying you and they're never going to, it's a hard market to serve. I took the exact same product and put it into a higher paying client model and it worked amazingly. It works really well when you're serving the right client. What advice do you give people out there who maybe are serving the wrong client for them to really effectively build and grow their business?
Stop doing it and go and pivot, learn something else. I know it's scary. It was really scary when we went from working with everybody to cutting off and half of our company and only working with dentists. That was really scary, but we grew. So we grew from probably doing $40,000, $50,000 a month to doing $100,000 a month in MRR. And it was scary when we said, hey, we're only going to work with growing dentists. And we went from about $250,000 in MRR and we tripled our business to over $1 million in MRR.
Love it.
And it was scary because it's oh man, there's only probably 40,000 people to work with. Totally. Well, when you work with 400 or 500, it's okay, there's a lot more room here. Yeah, there's a lot more room here. So there's so much opportunity for us to still grow, even though it's a niche market. It's super niched. And here's the other thing that's interesting. If you can become good in a niche, you can become the expert really fast. So if I said, become the expert at playing, a video game or become an expert at fixing computers, that's so broad. The opportunity of you becoming the number one expert in that space is actually really, really, really small. It's like making the NBA or making the Olympics. It's even if you're amazing, it's still really hard. But if I said, hey, become the number one expert at catching fish at this lake, a bass at this lake in this area only, you could actually figure that out, find the best spots, find the best bait. In a couple years' time, you could become the number one person in that area. 100%. And then it grows into more opportunities. So a lot of times we get scared of that. And for me, it's worked every single time.
I love it. And I love that you're talking about more than just perfecting your craft, but you're really talking about becoming an influence in the industry or in the niche that you're talking about serving. Is that right?
100%. Yeah. Yep.
So what have you done? I mean, you talked about building a podcast. What else have you done to really provide value to the community, just to give some advice to other people that are in unique niches like this?
Yeah. So number one is I started posting on social media every day. Yeah. So I just said, I'm just going to post on social media every day. And sometimes it's about dental, sometimes it's not. Actually, my personal channel, I speak very little about dental. Actually,
Is that right?
I just film stuff that I like to film, and then I created I have 4 podcasts in dental. They're only for dental. Like, you wouldn't be interested in them if you weren't in dental. Those get about 5,000 between all of them, get about 5,000 downloads a month. And then I funnel those in. I don't ask for anything. I don't ask people to subscribe. I don't have sponsors of it or anything like that. It's brand building. Then I have events. So this next year, 12 months, we're going to have 5 to 6 events that we host and we teach, and we don't sell at the events. I just host, say, hey, this is how we do it. If you're interested in learning more, you can come talk to us. But if not, I'm going to show you how to market your practice yourself. And what most people don't realize, I heard this story once. Someone said they were working with this lady. She was a real estate agent, and she had this course where she said, I'm going to teach you how to sell your own house. And all the people in the neighborhood came, and they're all sitting there, and she showed everybody, this is how you do it. This is how you do the LMS. This is how you do the blah, 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 blah. And she went through the whole thing. And he's just like, why is she doing this? Why is she showing people how to do her job? And at the end of the speech, at the end of the 4-hour thing, a line of people lined up with her, and he went down there, and every one of them was like, hey, I need help selling my house. And so what happens is, and I used to be this way. We as entrepreneurs, we become fixed in our mindset, thinking, man, I can't give away everything because people are going to steal it, and people are going to, and it's not true. What you want to do is you want to take your secret sauce, you want to give it away to the world, and half the people are going to go try to execute on it, and God bless them for it. You have fun. And the other half are going to say, less than half. Yeah, I agree. I just always say half because just to keep people honest. But part of them. And then the rest are going to come to you and say, hey, I need help. And you're the expert now because you taught them.
You know what? I was the same way as a young, as a young startup founder. I remember really being nervous about sharing anything I had going on in my business with anybody else because I felt like they were going to become my competitor. And I don't know why I was so worried about that, because I discovered as I got older that most people are never going to take the energy to start and be your competitor. And of those people that are going to start, very few are going to finish the execution, and very few are actually going to compete with you. And even the ones that do, if you help them, chances are they're going to really respect you for helping them build their brand.
Yep. 100%. Yeah, no, you're spot on. If you can figure that out early on, that's huge. So that's what's worked for us. And then whip
me into shape.
Yeah, now I get asked to go to other people's events. So other people are like, "Hey, Gary, you have events. You should come speak at our event." So now it's just it's just a never-ending flywheel of content and opportunities.
Isn't that fun? I get involved in that as well, and it is a fun circle to be in. You know what? One of the things that shocked me the most recently was Alex Hormozi's launch, of his book, the $100 million leads. All this hype, all this build, and he just gave it all away. Why? Because he didn't want to make money off that. He wanted to add value to build his real client avatar, which is the $1 million EBITDA business. He wants to buy and invest in those companies. For you, it's the same thing. You don't want to, you're adding so much value to these dentists that who else are they going to turn to? I mean, 4 different podcasts. I'm guessing each of them has kind of a specialty niche within each of those subcategories.
Yeah.
Everyone that's listening to those things are so primed and ready to trust you with whatever you're going to suggest. You've built so much value for them that honestly, you deserve to get their attention if you want to pitch them on anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it works. And most of the time, the other thing about dentists too, they hate the word sales. So in the dental industry, sales is a cuss word. And they also hate feeling like they're being sold. Now, everybody kind of hates like being sold, but salespeople love being sold. So like when I go somewhere and someone starts selling me, I'm like, I know. Oh, I want to be in this. I want to be in this process. I want to be in this dance, right? But dentists hate that. So you know what dentists love? They love to learn. They love to learn. They love it. They'll consume, they'll read books, they'll watch webinars. The best way to reach a dentist is through education, like hands down. And so if you can figure out what your target audience, how they want to receive their information, then you just like quadruple down on that and just really, really go hard at that.
Hence the reason we're doing this podcast. So for those of you out there who are building and growing your own business, I want you to pay close attention to what Gary's telling us, because truthfully, almost all of you are really specialized in your niche. If you aren't real specialized and you don't have a niche, you're not likely in a position to grow and scale. You're probably still launching and still trying to figure yourself out. But for those of you that have launched successfully, you're making money, you're generating, you're growing, you're building, you are niched enough to at least have gotten to this point where you're making money. Now the next stage, and Gary, this is where your conversation is really, really going to drive home for these people. What can they do as they evaluate their own product offering? What can they do to simplify? For you, it was ripping out all the customers you didn't really like working with as much as a dentist. But how do you kind of coach someone through that process of like niching down even more to focus on this?
So you just keep drilling down and ask how you can help the right kind of people more. So it's just figuring out who your ideal customer is. That's really it.
Right.
But here's another way, the flip side of that coin. You want to productize your service.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? So as a marketing company, we call ourselves a growth partner. We say in all of our marketing, we say dental marketing agencies are dead. We're a growth partner. Right. And that's very much on purpose. But when you're working as a marketing agency, we could sell hundreds of services, hundreds of them, right? I could say, I build websites, I do social media, I do SEO. Right. We don't do any of that.
Yeah.
We have one product that we sell. One, it's more new patients. And people go, well, how does that work? How does that work? And we go, well, let's start at the end. How many new patients do you want? Well, we want 100. Okay, great. How many are you at? We're at 50. Okay, so you need 50 more new patients. What's your operational bandwidth?
Right.
When's your next available appointment? Is your team trained on the phones? Is your team trained to present this kind of treatment? Right. Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay, great. Let's look at the market now and look at the demand. Let's look at the competition. Okay, we can get you, based on everything you just told us, we can get you a cost per acquisition of a new patient around $200. Let's just say, right? And it ranges everywhere. Depends what kind of treatment, all that kind of stuff. But let's just say $200. Great. And you want 50, so that's going to be $10,000 that you need to invest in your marketing. However, before you say yes, you have to realize we're a growth partner. That means somewhere along the line of the patient journey, your team is going to have holes in their training and things that they don't know. Right. When that happens, we're going to come in and train them. And we need your support, Mr. Doctor, and when we do that and that you buy into that. And when that happens, everybody wins. When everybody gets on the same page with that, everybody wins. So what did we do? We got out of the website business. Do we build websites? Of course. We got out of the SEO business. Do we do SEO? Of course. That's part of driving leads. Do we do ads, social? We do all of that stuff, but we don't offer it as a service. We do one thing and it's a product and it's based on results and we sell that as one thing. The more you can do that in your service, the more you can productize your service, the easier it is to understand, the easier it is to train your team, and the easier it is to grow.
Holy crap. I love that. I absolutely love that. That sends shivers down my spine. Honestly, I've been, I've got a prospect that I've been talking to, and it's like the request of the services they want has become so much more complicated than I wanted it to be. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, kludging this proposal together is just a nightmare. And what you just described is literally what every business should be doing right now. If you're in a service business, turn yourself into a performance business, right? And if you're helping people perform, you deserve every bit of what do you call that? An upsell path that you're created for the client. You deserve some rev share on that, right? And I'm assuming that's how your pricing model works.
No, it's not. It's not rev share. It's just like upfront, we're telling them, hey, this is what your cost per acquisition is going to be. Your cost per lead is going to be in this range. We can own cost per lead, so I can generate an opportunity for you, but I can't promise you a patient because if you don't answer your phone, that's up to you. But we're going to train your team. We're going to show you where. So here's the interesting thing about dental. Most people can't see where their business is breaking. Like that's one of the reasons dental really struggles from a business perspective. You can't actually even see the patient journey. So we've developed software to help them see where things are breaking and things like that.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Gary, I have a feeling we could probably do a whole LinkedIn Live on this for an hour and just have fun talking about this. But
I would love to do that.
We should, honestly. And moving forward, let's do that. This is a short form content piece. So, and honestly, I love where the conversation is going. We provided some huge value. And for those of you listening, if you're a dentist, especially, which I'm going to specifically target some of my friends who are dentists on this, you've got to engage with someone like this. If you're in a service industry and you're really specialized and you don't have a good marketing partner or growth partner, you have to find someone like a Gary who knows your industry, who knows the ins and outs of how to find new clients for you, because there really is a huge ocean of clients out there. And when you find a partner who understands that there's a lot of clients for you and I know how to grab enough, how much is enough? Like, you asked all the right questions there. How many can you handle? What is your operational capacity? If I get you to this point, how much is that lead worth to you? You know what I mean? Those are great questions to ask.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and here's the thing that most dentists don't realize, and this is true for most industries, or a lot of industries, I should say. There's an abundance of new patients.
Right.
There's not enough doctors to actually serve them. It's just you have to know how to communicate with them and reach them. Yeah, even in Utah, there's still enough. Maybe there's a lot of dentists in Utah. It is tougher in Utah.
Right.
I work with multiple dentists in Utah, and they absolutely crush. They're killing it. So you can do it. And if you know how to rise to the top, and especially when you're in an industry where people, their skill set that makes them good at doing the thing, makes them usually not good at marketing or sales, then that's an industry ripe for the picking.
Love it. Great advice, Gary. Love the information. Love the insights. Fantastic episode. For those of you listening and you want to learn more about what Gary's doing, we're plugging all his info in the show notes below. So take a look. Catch up with him, follow him on social media, and you're probably going to learn some things about how you could build and grow in your niche, in your industry. And I'm guessing, Gary, are you teaching people how to do this in their niches? Nope. Or are you just focused on dentists?
I'm just focused on dentists, but I'm happy to help people for free. I have a podcast called the 8-Figure Agency Show. I literally just go on there and talk about how I built my agency. I don't have anything to sell or any email capture. I would love people to follow me on social media, Gary Bird. If you want to follow me, I post fun stuff on there about inflation and stuff and right now. So, yep.
That's always fun to talk about. Hey, Gary, thanks so much for your time today. And for the rest of you, we can't wait to catch up with you on the next episode. We'll see you then. So what did you think of that conversation? Truthfully, I could have done that for another hour. I love people like Gary. What a fun conversation. And I hope you got some value out of that. I got a ton. I love talking to people that are like-minded and have the background and experience of building and growing lead flow. I love how niche he is, how he's helping a very select target audience who needs the help. They need that experience that he has. And for those of you out there that are very experienced in something, chances are someone out there needs you. How are you going to discover it? Look around in the marketplace. Who needs people like you? And what business could you build that will add a lot of value to what they're doing? Well, one of the things that I've been able to do is talk to other CEOs about how they can find strength from their peers. The Captain's Council is the place. CaptainsCouncil.com is where you can go to join a community of other CEOs and founders. Think of it as the next stage up from listening to these podcast content. Instead of just listening to other founders talk about their growth and scaling, you actually communicate with other CEOs and founders in a very intimate level. Groups of 8 to 10 people where you're talking, discovering ways that you can take your businesses to the next level in a community format where people are not afraid to share their insights, share their thoughts, share their concerns, and you can too. Come check out CaptainsCouncil.com because it may be just the place for you to learn where you need to take your business next to find that next layer of growth. It doesn't take long to find out that other people have been down the path you're on. Just ask. That's where the Captain's Council is. And this podcast is also designed to show you the path other people have been on in their growth journey. So check it out. Have fun. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And we cannot wait to see you on the next episode. We'll see you there.